The academy grounds were silent that early morning, the kind of silence that settles before something unforgettable happens. Inside the tall stone walls stood hundreds of cadets preparing for another day of training, but none of them knew that someone extraordinary had just stepped through the front gate. She carried a single duffel bag on her shoulder and walked with the calm confidence of someone who had survived more danger than anyone there could imagine. Her name on the register was Elena Brooks, a new transfer cadet, quiet, composed, and seemingly ordinary. But the truth behind her arrival was a secret that no one in the academy could even guess. Elena was not a new cadet at all. She was an active-duty Navy SEAL, one of the youngest female combat specialists to complete the most unforgiving training pipeline in the world. She had been sent undercover by the Defense Department to investigate allegations of abuse, corruption, and violent hazing that had been reported inside this academy. Her identity was classified, her mission was clear, and while she was prepared for the assignment, she did not expect trouble to find her within the first hour of stepping inside her new dormitory. The moment she entered the dorm hall, Elena could already feel tension in the air. Eyes followed her, whispers floated behind her, some curious, some amused, and some unwelcoming. She had learned long ago that people reveal themselves without speaking. Pride in their shoulders, insecurity in their eyes, ego in the way they walked. She noticed a particular group almost immediately. 5 senior cadets who towered over the others, walking with the swagger of men who believed they owned the grounds they stepped on. They called themselves the Spine Squad. Reed Callahan was their self-proclaimed leader, tall, muscular, and feared across the academy. His right-hand man Travis Hale was a troublemaker with a long disciplinary record. The others Donovan, Pike, and Mercer followed them like shadows, enforcing Reed's rules and his version of dominance. Elena had already read their files before arriving. Repeated accusations of violent hazing, hidden injuries among first-year cadets, and suspicious incidents swept under various administrative rugs. Her mission revolved around these men more than anyone else. Elena quietly settled into her room, arranging her few belongings neatly. Her movements were precise but simple, nothing that would draw attention. As she placed her boots under the frame of the bed, she sensed a presence outside her door. Heavy boots, confident breathing, a quiet murmur among several voices. The door opened without knocking. Reed walked in first, followed by Travis and the rest of his group. They expected shock or fear. They expected hesitation. But Elena turned slowly, calmly, as if they had merely interrupted her while she was folding laundry. Reed stood in front of her, blocking the light from the hallway. He smirked with the arrogance of someone too used to obedience. "You are the new girl," he said, stepping closer. Elena responded in a steady voice. "You did not knock." Travis laughed loudly. "Look at that. She talks." Reed took another step closer, lowering his voice. "Boldness does not last here unless you understand your place." Elena said nothing in return. Her silence irritated him. Bullies hate quiet strength more than loud resistance. Travis grabbed her duffel bag suddenly and tossed its contents across the floor. Shirts and a notebook landed near her feet. Elena did not flinch. Reed waited for a reaction, any reaction, but none came. The lack of fear unsettled him. Who does not respond to intimidation? He moved even closer. "We are teaching you how things work in this building. If you have a problem with it, go complain to an instructor." Elena looked him directly in the eyes. For a brief moment, Reed felt something he had not felt in a long time. Uncertainty. But he pushed it away and signaled to leave. Travis stepped forward to shove her lightly, testing her, but Elena shifted 1 inch, avoiding the touch without making it obvious. They walked out eventually, unsatisfied, believing they still held control. They did not realize at all how badly they had misjudged her. The next morning during hand-to-hand combat practice, Elena continued her undercover performance. She held herself back consciously, moving a little slower than her true ability, staying average enough to blend in. But she could not hide everything. When partners were assigned randomly, she was paired with Mercer, the strongest member of Reed's group. He cracked his knuckles and grinned with overconfidence. "Do not worry," he whispered. "I will not break anything important." Elena simply nodded. The instructor blew the whistle. Mercer charged like a bull, expecting her to be afraid. Elena made a small sidestep and he stumbled forward. She touched his arm lightly to redirect his momentum, making him fall without harming him. The other cadets murmured in surprise. Mercer got up, embarrassed and angry. He rushed again, faster. Elena moved again, just enough to avoid him without striking back. The instructor frowned. "Brooks, defend yourself." "She is defending herself," someone whispered. Without even touching him, Mercer grew furious. He lunged for a 3rd time and grabbed her from behind in a choke attempt. Elena had been in real chokeholds from trained enemies. Mercer's hold felt weak, clumsy. But now she had no choice. She had to act. The instructor had turned away for a moment. Mercer was squeezing harder. She counted 1 second, then executed a clean escape technique. Her elbow struck into the nerve cluster under his ribs, his grip loosened instantly, and she flipped him over her shoulder in one smooth controlled motion. Mercer slammed onto the mat. The sound echoed across the courtyard. Reed watched from across the field, his irritation growing. Travis muttered that something about her was not normal. Elena simply stood still, breathing calmly. Mercer lay stunned, unable to understand how he had been overpowered so quickly. Elena helped him to his feet quietly. The instructor raised his eyebrows but said nothing. Later that night, things escalated. The Spine squad waited until lights out. The hallway was dark with only a faint glow from emergency bulbs. They approached her room silently. Elena sat on her bed, already aware of their plan. She had heard their movements long before they reached her door. When they entered, she saw their expressions change. This was not about intimidation anymore. This was about punishment. Travis grabbed her first from behind, squeezing her neck. Donovan held her arm tightly. Pike tried to pin her other wrist. They believed she would panic. But Elena moved faster than they could think. She bent her knees, lowered her center of gravity, struck Travis with the back of her head, kicked Pike's leg, twisted free from Donovan, and tapped Mercer's sternum with calculated force. All of them dropped within seconds. Reed, shocked, stepped back. His voice shook. "Who are you?" Elena stood calm among the fallen bodies. "Someone you should not touch again." Reed spat angrily. "This is not over." Elena replied quietly. "No, it is just beginning." From that moment, the academy atmosphere changed. Reed and his group intensified their actions. They sabotaged routes during training runs and tried to provoke her at meals. But Elena's discipline was unmatched. She did not react. She did not give them the satisfaction. Rumors began spreading among cadets about her unusual calmness and flawless reflexes. The climax came during a night navigation exercise in the woods. Reed used the darkness to plan something far more dangerous. His group intended to isolate Elena, choke her unconscious, and leave her deep in the forest. He believed no one would find out. He believed the woods would swallow the truth. But Elena could sense their approach easily. She turned off her flashlight and blended into the trees. The forest was her world. Shadows were her advantage. Reed whispered loudly for his group to spread out. They stalked her like predators who did not know they were the prey. Elena moved silently behind them. One by one she eliminated their attempts. Donovan tried to rush her. She disarmed him and pinned him to the ground. Pike swung at her wildly. She moved aside and flipped him. Mercer attempted to use strength. She redirected all of it and sent him crashing against a tree. Travis attacked in frustration. She avoided every strike until he fell from exhaustion. Then she tapped his pressure point and he lost control of his legs. Reed remained alone, breathing heavily, realizing too late that they had underestimated her completely. Elena stepped from behind a tree, grabbed him by the vest and pulled him face to face. "Why are you doing this?" Reed asked with shaking voice. "Because you hurt people," Elena replied. "Because you think cruelty is power. Because you lead through fear." Reed swallowed. "You are not even a real cadet." Elena answered calmly. "You are right. I am not. But I am exactly where I need to be." The next morning, the entire academy was assembled. The commandant walked in holding a sealed folder. His voice echoed as he called the names Reed Callahan, Travis Hale, Pike, Donovan, and Mercer. The hall filled with whispers. The commandant read out the charges of hazing, assault, and misconduct. Reed's eyes widened in horror. Then the commandant turned to Elena. "For the record, state your designation." Elena stepped forward. "Lieutenant Elena Brooks, United States Navy SEAL, Special Operations Command." Gasps filled the hall. Reed staggered back. "You were a SEAL," he whispered. Elena replied firmly. "I am a SEAL." Her identity was revealed. Her mission was complete. Reed and his group were removed from the academy under investigation. Elena approached Reed one last time. "Power is not fear. Power is honor. Remember that." Reed lowered his head, finally understanding. Elena left the academy weeks later, her job finished. The place slowly began to change. New rules, new leadership, stronger protection for younger cadets. And rumors spread of the mysterious girl who had arrived quietly and defeated the strongest cadets in the academy without ever losing her calm. They never forgot her, and they never again underestimated a new girl. Especially one who was a Navy SEAL combat expert, always ready to strike.